for a minute?
Not now, we're playing.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Pretty little black boy, your life is filled with sorrow and unpredictable tomorrows.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger, exalted Christ. Welcome to the Journal of Truth, brothers and sisters. We are so thankful to Almighty God that you tune in this evening. We have a special guest here with us from the West Coast. So go get everybody in the family and bring them close to the TV because you won't feel that you have missed such a great teaching today. All praises to Allah. Unity is the key. Since Allah, God, did not come to us quarreling, why should we quarrel with one another? We must recognize and respect his love for us and not let him hear us quarreling and disrespecting his presence. Proudness is a sickness. This is why we are divided. We will be one or nothing. The more you learn, the less you seek advantage. Don't be careful that you agree on right, but be careful that you don't agree on wrong. Don't withhold your good just because another withholds his good. You do your part. Greeting a Muslim is binding upon you. If you do not, your mind is not right. The right medicine for the disease in our heart is the spirit of Allah. Fear is the worst enemy of man. When you find a man that doesn't fear, that is the winner. These are the words of our beloved messenger, Messiah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he calls this great teaching to you and to us a thought on unity. So, brothers and sisters, we want to set aside our differences and unite together. This is our day. The time is at hand. And once again, I thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the Journal of Truth. I'd like to introduce you to my two big brothers that's sitting here with me this evening. And we have the great assistant minister of our great minister, Troy Muhammad, brother minister Clyde Muhammad here on my right. Salam alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
And the great minister out in Houston is a great helper to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, our great brother Abdul Halim, sitting on my left. Praises be to Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. We'd like to welcome you, brother, to the D. And we all enjoyed the great lecture that you gave us earlier at the historic Muhammad Mosque No. 1, Michigan. And we want to go over some of that which you were sharing with us earlier today.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So all praise is due to Allah. What is the key that our brothers and sisters need to understand based upon the time and day that we're now living in?
Well, first of all, Brother Sami, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on the people's sacred airwaves. I don't take this lightly to have an opportunity to reach out beyond our small circle, but to be able to speak to the greater circle of our people, which
Yes,
is
sir.
indeed the Nation of Islam. The key, brother, is to pattern ourselves after the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's chief helper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he is the personification of love, tolerance, and having the ability to look beyond our faults and see our needs. And so for us today, we have to look beyond the labels. In other words, let's go to the street and have more sense than the wino. The wino doesn't care what's on the label on the bottle. He just want to know, is there some wine in
That's
there?
right.
So we've got to not care that this is the Journal of Truth and there are 3 Muslims here. They should treat us as if they were listening to T.D. Jakes, Reverend Sharpton, and
Yeah.
Reverend Jackson.
Yes, sir.
And know that from us, if our heart is pure, we are trying to be peacemakers. And blessed are the peacemakers, Jesus said in the Beatitudes, for they are called children of God. We are trying to make peace. That Islam means peace. And we want peace for our people. Because we cannot be Muslims unless we want for our brother and sister what we want for ourselves. And so what we want for our brothers and sisters in the city of Detroit or wherever this broadcast may go, we want the peace of God and the love of God to be unto you. So when you greeted them, assalamu alaikum, what you did was you actually said a prayer. For assalamu alaikum, there's only one that can give peace, and that's God himself.
Yes, sir.
So when you said assalamu alaikum, we said wa alaikum salam, we said, and unto you peace, what we did was we simply prayed for each other. If we would pray for each other and stop praying on each other,
Yes,
if
sir.
we would love one another as Jesus loved us, and that's a love beyond sometimes understanding, but it's not beyond our understanding if we would just what? Purify our hearts. Because blessed is the pure of hearts, for they shall see God. And not only see God up in the sky after we die in the sweet by and by, but we will see God in our brother and in our sister. And how could you pull a knife on God? How could you
Right.
pull a gun on God? How could you rob God? How could you jack God? How could you shoot God? You couldn't do that if you really saw God in your brother and sister. So it comes with your heart, the pureness of your heart. And that's what I'm getting around to, talking about the pattern that Minister Farrakhan has shown us over his 60 years is to reach out to all of our people, regardless of whether they're gay or straight. He loves them.
Yes, sir.
Whether they are Sunni Muslim, Shia Muslim, Church of God in Christ, Church of Christ, Church of God, no Christ, Church of Christ, no God. It doesn't matter to the minister whether they're Hebrew Israelite. It does not matter whether people even believe in God. Pan-Africanists, nationalists. Minister Farrakhan has spoke to all of the professionals,
right.
the police, the lawyers, the doctors, the engineers, every facet and every formation of our people. He called to the historic Million Man March.
That's right.
And so after this program, I hope that they will go and they will tune in to www.noi.org/webcast and watch the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's address from Union Temple Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. as they commemorate the 23rd anniversary of the historic Million Man March.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. Thank you, Brother Minister. Brother Clyde, what is it about these teachings that attracted you to the Nation of Islam?
Oh, praise be to Allah. That's a great question. But first of all, I want to thank you, like our brother just did, for having me on the show. And, you know, what attracted me to the Nation of Islam is the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I had a brother give me this book, Message to the Black Man, who never set foot into the mosque. But he was able to get the book, read it himself, and share it with me.
Yes, sir.
And once I looked at the book, I said, well, where's the mosque at? And he came and gave me a tape of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, this back in the early 90s. So I went to the mosque, and at that time, Minister Rasul was the teacher at the mosque. So I met him, and he gave a lecture. And I'm like, where have y'all been all my life? When I walked into the mosque, Islam fitted me like a glove fits a hand, good and tight. It was right on time. And it let me know that this is where I belong. You know, the unity, the love, the support, the program, the leader and teacher and guide that was before us, I had heard or seen none like him before in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So that's what attracted me. And when I heard him speak, I was hooked. You know, and I started digging in and listening and learning, and on top of all that, trying to apply what I was being told, what I was being taught. And once I did that, it was over. And that was back in the early 90s. And I haven't turned back since.
All praise is due to Allah. Now you are blessed to be the assistant minister under student minister Troy
Yes, sir.
Muhammad.
I'm doing the best I can to assist him in any way I can.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know, one of the things that I really want to talk about is what our brother talked about today from the rostrum.
Yes, sir.
Unity or be destroyed. Unity, or it sounds like justice or else to me.
All right.
But unity, without unity, where are we headed? With unity, where are we headed?
Yes,
So I
sir.
would like to direct the question to our brother. When we start talking about unity, the way you taught on unity today was so powerful and profound and on time. It struck a nerve with me because when I think about unity, how can I unite with my brother if I don't unite with myself first? And I think that's something I would just like to ask you to expound on.
Expound. I can give you a two-word answer. You can't.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, if we could close this program in 5 minutes if we wanted to summarize the 80+ years of the teachings
Yes, sir.
of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he got from his teacher, Master Fuad Muhammad, who visited this city in the 1930s and found and taught the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, prepared him for this mission that gave us Malcolm, that gave us Muhammad Ali, that gave us Imam Waqti Muhammad, who gave us a Naeem Akbar, who gave us Minister Hasty, who gave us the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can summarize it in 6 words: accept your own and be yourself. So what are you and who are you? What am I and who am I? And more importantly, whose am I? Who
That's
do I
right.
belong to? And so once you understand who you are, then you know that you are, like Sly Stone says, everybody is a star. I can feel it
Everybody
when you shine on me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's a star. Brother Clyde's a star. Brother Sami's a star. Brother Troy's a star. I do not have to feel insecure because guess what? I'm a star too.
That's right.
And I have my place in the constellation. But if we don't realize that we have our place in the constellation and then we become not bright and illuminate and enucleate and actually light up, then we become a black hole. Meaning that we become like the gravity in a black hole is so strong, light cannot escape from it. It sucks stars in. So when I become envious and jealous and I don't love my brother, when I'm so full of vanity that I cannot see the gift of God in my brother and in my sister, then envy is almost an irredeemable quality because envy is the mother of murder.
That's right.
That's right.
Because it doesn't just say, yo, Sammy, you looking at my wife, bro. What's up? Why you looking at my wife like that? That's jealousy. I'm supposed to be a little jealous. Don't be looking at my queen like that, Sammy, you know, because if I take off the board, the king is vulnerable. Like that, right?
That's right.
But it is for me to say, but it's not for me to say, yeah, you looking at my wife, but you know what? You don't deserve a woman yourself. Why? Because I hate the magnetism that God put in you that would attract people to you. Instead of me taking my beef to God on my prayer rug or in your prayer closet, dear Christian brother and sister, what you do is you would snuff out your brother and your sister's life instead of asking God, God, why don't you help me see
Yes, sir.
the greatness in myself instead of hating the greatness in my brother and my sister. So unity requires for everyone to understand that nobody here is by mistake. It doesn't matter that your mama and daddy met up at the Motel 6 or that you were conceived on the back seat of a Chevy, 64 Chevy.
64.
With a drop top.
With a drop top.
It doesn't matter where you were conceived. No one is an accident.
That's
Because
right.
your father released in your mother's womb up to 1 billion sperm. And out of that billion sperm, only one made it. That means that you and I, all of us, and those who are watching on this program, that we outswam 999,999,999 other sperm to be born.
That's right.
That means we're not an accident. The odds are greater of us hitting the lottery 3 times in a row, winning the Powerball 3 times in a row, or typing the Bible and Holy Quran backwards without missing a letter than being born. So
That's powerful.
every one of us is a unique miracle created by God to answer a prayer.
That's right.
Our ancestors coming over here on the slave ship prayed for freedom. Whatever language they spoke to, whoever they believed God, his name was, they prayed.
That's right.
Our
That's right.
ancestors on the plantation prayed to God in whatever way they understood that he would come, swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over yonder, what did I see? A band. Looked over Jordan, what did I see? A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home.
Yes, sir.
Huh? We looked at that. So we look at, go on, Moses, and tell Pharaoh, let my people go.
Let my
All
people
of that. We
right.
always kept hope.
That's right.
And so even in our civil rights movement, we sung them kind of songs and ain't nobody gonna turn us around. We did all of those things praying and hoping to God. And now here you, Brother Clyde, Sami, myself, Brother Norman, and all of us were born
That's right.
to answer those prayers.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm an answer to a prayer, I was sent here by God for the short period of time There'll never be another one like you. There'll never be another one like me. There never has been, and there never will be. We're here for a time, and we must utilize the time that God gave us and maximize the gift that he gave us. Otherwise, we wasted our time and wasted God's blessing and gift upon us. So we cannot have unity with others if we're not unified with ourselves. And that it kind of goes like this. Jesus said the second great command was to love thy neighbor as thyself.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So neighborly love is predicated or based upon self-love. If you don't love yourself, you ain't qualified to love your neighbor. And that's why when we moved to that side of town, they moved. And that's why when we follow them to the suburbs, they're doubling back now and gentrifying Detroit and other places because we don't love ourselves. Therefore, they can't love us. So we need to stop licking them in the face like a puppy dog and start loving one another. And then they will naturally want to be around us because you know what? As far as I can see, all the places I've traveled on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whether it be China, whether it be Turkey, whether it be Africa, Caribbean, Central South America, all of the people around the world listening to hip-hop music. That means that the heartbeat of the world, the poets that are running this world, as in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, are the poets.
That's right.
And so they're listening to you, urban America. The question is, who are you listening to? And do you love yourself? And if you love yourself, then we would see love reflected in the community. Love yourself first, and then others. Charity begins at home and then spreads abroad.
This teaching has been here since the 30s. And this city, you were teaching earlier about the city of Detroit and how important this city is. Talk to us a little bit about what you were sharing earlier about the city of Detroit, how important it is for the people, the brothers and sisters in Detroit, to understand who we are and whose we are.
Right. Well, the city of Detroit, when you look at it, when you think about the exodus to the so-called promised land, where people came from the South to escape Jim Crow, lynching, the Ku Klux Klan, and they came to the North, it was like they were making a pilgrimage to Mecca. They came to Detroit because Mecca in Arabia was the place that was a mercantile center. It was revolved around the Hajj or the pilgrimage. That pilgrimage existed long before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And they came there to worship their God. There were 360 plus gods in the Kaaba. Every man and every tribe had their own God. And there were people who profited from that.
Right.
So the mercantile hub of Arabia at that time was Mecca. So if a person sacrificed doves or camels or cows or chickens or whatever to their respective god, or burnt wood or made stones or idols for their respective god, then there was a merchant there to supply their needs. So America, the heart and hub of America in the 20th century was its industrial strength. In World War II, this was known as the arsenal of democracy because we supplied for the Europeans their fight against Adolf Hitler until America got in the war to fight Adolf Hitler and Japanese. But right here in Detroit, Fordism, or Henry Ford, created the assembly line process that made America the industrial juggernaut that it was, and the heart of it was Detroit. So God came to this great mercantile city in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. Now, the distance from Detroit to Chicago is about the same distance as it is from Mecca to Medina. And just as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was run out of Detroit, run out of Mecca, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was run out of Detroit, and so was Master Fard Muhammad, and they went to Chicago. Now, it's no coincidence, because I don't believe in coincidence, because we're taught, after learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, we can prove in no limit of time. It's no coincidence that the Shriners Temple in Chicago is called Medina. I'm just saying. We established our headquarters is at number 2, not number 1, but number 2, which is Medina was not named Medina, it was Yathrib, and became known as the city of the prophet. That's what Medina means, the city of the prophet. So the headquarters of the Nation of Islam was in Chicago. But Chicago is in fact the granary that feeds the world. All your slaughterhouses, all of your railroads went through Chicago. It was the gateway to the west and the door to the east.
Yes, sir.
So, as you see, New York has the New York Stock Exchange, but the commodity exchanges is in Chicago. That's where they sell the pork bellies and the soybean crops and all of that. So, we look at Medina. Medina was an agricultural location. So it's Chicago. So the point that I want to make is that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the study of history is a must because it's best qualified and most attractive to reward our research. So as we study the life of Prophet Muhammad, then we understand how Islam got established in America. Master Fard Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for 3 years and 4 months. And then he gave him 104 books to read, the best of which he said was the Holy Quran, but the other 103 were about the life or some aspect of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Yes,
because he had to know how Prophet Muhammad went about establishing Islam in the wilderness of Arabia in order to know how to establish Islam in the wilderness of North America. And so when we look at the fact, the importance of Detroit is in fact that right now, as we look at it, we think this city of Detroit is destitute, bankrupt, and hopeless, and helpless.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that the factories have moved out of the country, so the idols that we worshipped here, GM, Ford, Chrysler, have now all been cleared out of the Kaaba, and now it's time for the worship of the one God, which is for the people of God to establish themselves and to go into the 21st century with a new educational paradigm that calls upon us the building of wealth and entrepreneurship. We have cleared the deck, and
Yes,
God has made a way now for us to stand up and to use our God-given talent and natural ability. We're so great, brother. We can make pig guts taste good. We can make chitlins taste good, pig feet, pigtails. I
Yes,
know
sir.
you said a Muslim talking about that, but if you think about it, they threw away
That's
the
right.
pig intestines.
That's right.
They cut off his feet. Brother
That's
Sam
right.
me.
Watch out.
Huh?
Watch out.
They gave us weeds with the collard greens. They fed
That's
us
right.
black-eyed peas, which was what they fed their animals. Lima beans, what they fed their animals. And what did our women do with such great skill? They made pig guts and spare ribs taste good.
sure
Now,
did.
How to Eat to Live says, give up that pig. Give up the collard greens and give up that because it's killing us. We're digging a grave with our teeth.
That's
But the
right.
point I'm trying to make is that you kept us on the plantation. We came up with the Negro spirituals. You gave us Jim Crow. You ran us from the South to the North. Tragedy caused the brother that wrote Precious Lord, Take My Hand. We get out of our tragedy comes our creative genius.
Yes, sir.
Out of our need to just work away and party away our cares, we came up with what they call jackass music, which is jazz. Huh? We lived life. We got our hearts broke, so we came up with the blues.
The blues.
So every time you looked up, we were taking our creative genius and we took lemons and made it into lemonade. And then when they took away from us our conscious music that came with R&B,
That's right.
that was in the 60s and 70s, because the teaching of Honorable Elijah Muhammad had so affected all of us. We were singing, dancing, calling each other brother, sister, throwing up the black power fist, wearing afros. We were proud, not knowing that at the root of that was a little black man sitting in Chicago that said, one day I'm going to have all
That's
all
right.
black people calling themselves brother and sister. They didn't know that there was that little black man sitting right there from Georgia, right there in Chicago, that caused that to happen. And then we got disco. See that we went from the conscious music to disco. So we got disconnected,
Come on, brother.
discombobulated, huh? And then we got discouraged. So we said, oh man, forget it. I'm going to Studio 54. I'm going to snort some coke. I'm going to party. I'm going to more. How you like it? We start, and then all of a sudden now, our children grew up and they said, man, what's going on here?
going on?
You closed the schools. You took away art. You
That's
took
right.
away all of these things, and now look at our schools, and so now hip-hop came. They took our old 60s and 70s music. They took funky drummer James Brown. They started mixing the beat, so the DJ started scratching. The MC took the mic. He started rapping.
That's right.
The break dancers started breaking and dancing on that piece of linoleum. They didn't have any canvas at the schools because they closed down art, so they took spray cans and said, I'll use the subway as my canvas.
That's
Started
right.
spraying, right? So the graffiti writing. And then later came the spinner tires and all of that, the teeth, the grill, the tattoos, the clothing, the haircuts, all of that piece came afterwards. But then what happened was the consciousness raising hip hop. They were listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
They were sampling Malcolm X. They were sampling the X-Clan, Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy. All of them were listening to the Nation of Islam and its teachings.
That's right.
Okay? But the enemies was listening too. First he laughed, he ignored us.
That's right.
The hippity hop stuff is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, he started finding out people was listening to this stuff.
That's
So
right.
what did he do? The culture bandits, what they always do. Like Elvis Presley stole stuff from that. That's why Little Richard said, I'm the king of rock and roll, shut up.
That's exactly what he said.
That's what he said.
So we have to recognize the fact that our children and their talent had been hijacked.
That's right.
I don't blame NWA. No, I don't.
Yes, sir.
Money is what hijacked all of our artists. And so now we're confused. I'm talking about now I'm gonna do a drive-by. I got my tools in my trunk and I'm gonna do this drive-by, and your woman is a B and an H and all of that, and I got money stacked up and I got all this and I'm drinking syrup and and I'm taking these pills and all that kind of thing. That's how I determine how gangster I am. How you gonna be gangster with green hair?
Think about
How
it.
you gonna be gangster wearing a dress? Come on, man.
That's right.
Huh? Real gangsters don't rob banks. Real gangsters own banks.
That's right.
Think about
Real
that.
gangsters don't break the law. Real gangsters write the law.
That's right.
Real gangsters don't do drive-by shootings. Real gangsters do fly-by shootings off aircraft carriers and using drones. They overthrow countries, not neighborhoods and blocks.
Yes, sir. Well, all praise is due to Allah. It seems like 30 minutes is a few seconds,
That's
doesn't
right.
it?
You're not
But I want to let the brothers and sisters know we will be on our radio broadcast, 88.1 FM on your radio dial, and I hope and pray to Allah that the minister, if he got a little more time, will come right and sit with us on the radio broadcast, if his time permits. It's from 7 to 7:30. Right here, we just go around the corner here at 7 o'clock, and we can continue these conversations. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to be our special guests at 14880 Wyoming every Sunday at 11 o'clock to hear our great Minister Troy Muhammad, who is the state representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, teach these great life-giving teachings. I'm so thankful to Allah that you have taken time out, Brother Minister, to be with us, Brother Minister Clyde and Brother Minister Halim, and the beat goes on. The
And
beat
on
goes
and on and on and on. And I too want to thank Brother Troy and the believers here in the city of Detroit for the great work you've done and are doing, and you're inspiring the whole nation. D-Town, you what's happening. It's time that we come on and rise up and be our mighty great self.
Praise
Thank
be
you,
to
thank you,
Allah.
sir. And if you don't have the latest edition of the greatest newspaper in the entire universe, The Final Call, please get your copy. Okay, everybody's talking about the news. In this paper, you're going to have the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
That's right.
So help me, God. May Allah continue to bless each and every one of us to see, to hear, and to understand the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being continued today by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whose state representative, Brother Student Minister Troy Muhammad, is continuing these life-giving teachings. Thank you as we greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Pretty little black boy. Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?
Not now, we're playing.
Just a minute.
Okay.